Ippo was a useless waste of space who was busy wasting his life away after his father mysteriously left home and never returned. However, he decides to become like Muhammad Ali and claps every opponent that comes his way for revenge. But before that, Ippo was just a boy when his father, a fisherman, set sail with the promise of returning, much like my own useless father who went to get the milk and never came back. Ippo and his mother, Hiroko, waited for weeks for his return, but unbeknownst to them, his boat had capsized after he heroically saved everyone on board but couldn't save himself. Several weeks later, his mother receives the shocking news of his father's demise, but Ippo refuses to accept the cruel reality of the world and continues to wait for his father's return. He stays at the dock until Sakuma, a fisherman, approaches him. Ippo asks Sakuma to help him tie a clove hitch because he promised his father he would be the best clove hitcher before he returns. Sakuma tries to convince him that his father is long gone and will never return. However, Ippo will not be persuaded, believing his father isn't that useless and will surely keep his promise to return. Just then, Sakuma tries to take him home, but Ippo clings to the dock and won't leave. He continues to go to the dock every night waiting for his father to return. Meanwhile, his mother soon gets fed up with his delusions and begs him to return home, but the fat-faced goat won't listen and remains on the dock. One night at the dock, he hears his father's voice calling from within the deep sea. So, later that night, he returns home to his worried mother, holding his father's famous cap. It then dawns on him that his father is truly in nirvana and will never come back. Weeks later, Ippo rushes to inform Sakuma that his mother, Hiroko, has just gotten her boating license. Hiroko approaches them, and with Ippo, they both set sail, promising each other to remain strong. Several years later, Ippo, now an ugly featherweight champion, receives a title from an opponent named Shimabukuro, who promises to destroy his signature move, the Dempsey Roll, and eradicate his existence. As a result of the challenge, Ippo trains like his life depends on it, and while they train, he punches repeatedly before finally landing a knockout punch on his coach. Meanwhile, on a faraway land, a short, disgusting, ugly dude with a funny nose emerges from the sea, carrying a large fish on his shoulders. Then his coach approaches him, calling him Shimabukuro, and asks if he is ready for the intense title fight. Shimabukuro assures him he is ready, as this is his opportunity to show his strength to the world. His coach reveals that Ippo is the son of a worthless fisherman like himself, which makes Shimabukuro decide that the fight would be a match of fishermen to determine who rules the sea. Shimabukuro promises to drag Ippo's soul to the depths of the water, make him regret all his life decisions, and then destroy his trademark Dempsey roll completely. On the day of the fight, in his dressing room, Ippo is cheered on by his gym buddies Aoki, Takamura, Kimura, and Itagaki, and then his coach encourages him to fight his best and win for the entire gym and team. A few minutes later, the ring announcer introduces Shimabukuro, the challenger, and the crowd is completely stunned at the mini Hulk. Some even call him an ugly monster, and there is no way someone as ugly as him could be the protagonist of this story. A few moments later, Ippo arrives with his team, and the crowd cheers on the people's champion. Ippo's team, however, wonders how he will survive his opponent, who is a short monster, and assumes Shimabukuro must be extremely powerful since the shorter they are, the stronger they become. Ippo, on the other hand, is stunned to see his opponent, who appears to be oozing a very dark aura, and realizes he is faced with a worthy villain. Soon after, the two fighters approach each other for a face-off, and the bell rings to commence the fight. The fighters assume their stances, putting up their guards, and at that instant, Shimabukuro charges at Ippo to deliver a devastating punch to his torso, but Ippo sends one fist and bashes his ugly face. Ippo continues raining punches, which Shimabukuro dodges with precise bobbing and weaving. Ippo soon finds himself boxed in but continues his onslaught of punches all the same. That instant, Shimabukuro delivers a powerful punch to his face, which Ippo narrowly blocks. Then Shimabukuro continues sending barrages of punches, which Ippo blocks with his guard up. Suddenly, Shimabukuro prepares and lands a mighty body shot to his torso that shakes his guts as they continue landing punches at each other in an intense battle. The first round of intense battle ends in a draw. In Ippo's corner, his coach urges him to stay focused and not be pushed around by his opponent. Meanwhile, in Shimabukuro's corner, his useless coach advises him to use his muscle power advantage and urges him to remember that he needs to be the villain in this episode. The second round commences with both fighters ready to knock each other out, and with a Mike Tyson move, Ippo unleashes a barrage of intense punches, pounding at Shimabukuro, who blocks them with his guard up. With 5 rounds gone and both fighters unwilling to give in, they continue to punch each other with intense determination. Just then, Ippo lands a massive uppercut that shivers Shimabukuro's legs, and then he continues to pound his way to a knockout. Just when he thinks there is an opening to deliver the knockout punch, Shimabukuro sends a devastating swing punch to his face that sends Ippo stumbling backward, nearly dazed by the impact, leaving everyone in shock and disbelief. Ippo's corner realizes that Ippo has cyanisis from the impact of the punch and is finding it difficult to breathe as his body is throbbing from pain. That instant, Shimabukuro welcomes him to the ocean floor, his territory, just exactly where he wants him. Within 15 seconds left in the 5th round, Shimabukuro rushes forward and lands a couple of solid body shots on Ippo's already damaged body. He continues the brutal, relentless assault, pounding Ippo's guts with great intensity, delivering a devastating punch to his midsection. Just then, the bell rings to end the round, leaving Ippo in his corner, completely battered and stunned but somehow surviving the round. Shimabukuro boasts to his coach that at the bottom of the ocean, Ippo is weak and useless against him, and he will finish him off at any time as his time has finally come. Meanwhile, Ippo, with no strength to continue, is holding on by a thread and wants the match to end, so he plans on hitting Shimabukuro with his trademark move, the Dempsey Roll. The 6th round commences as both fighters approach the center of the ring. Shimabukuro wonders why Ippo can still see with his damaged eyes, even at the bottom of the ocean, and is desperate to end the ripoff of Mike Tyson quickly. At that instant, he rushes forward at Ippo. Then Ippo sends a weak hook, but is effortlessly ignored by Shimabukuro, who pushes him to the ropes and has him boxed in again, continuing his relentless storm of body shots. Ippo growls in agony, and suddenly, he manages to regain his composure and lands a powerful uppercut that excites the crowd. Shimabukuro unleashes a series of direct jabs, which Ippo evades with ultra speed and precision. At that moment, with incredible lateral movement, Ippo unleashes his trademark Dempsey Roll, sending a barrage of solid punches at his opponent's face, but Shimabukuro blocks his strikes with his chin up. So, the two fighters engage in a terrifying exchange of blows, and Ippo desperately continues to unleash the power of the Dempsey Roll, but is stopped by a powerful punch that smashes his face and snaps his head backwards. He stumbles back, exhausted, as Shimabukuro stands confidently, having overcome the legendary Dempsey Roll that had knocked out several boxers. Everyone admires Shimabukuro as the strongest man alive, while Ippo looks like he was hit by a train and stood exhausted with no strong will to fight. With a clear chance to finish him, Shimabukuro approaches to put the champ to sleep. That moment, Ippo realizes his time has finally come, so he thanks his parents for bringing him into the world. As Shimabukuro advances, he soon discovers his body can't make the knockout blow, and his body stands still, frozen from cyanisis due to the damage from the Dempsey Roll. Just then, the bell rings to end the round. At Ippo's corner, his coach advises him to pull oxygen from every cell to survive the last and final round. Meanwhile, Shimabukuro assures his coach that the last round will be the death round for Ippo. Following this, the bell rings, and the opponents approach the center of the ring again ready for the final battle. Shimabukuro charges at incredible speed, making a beeline for the champion, leaving Ippo's team wondering how he is able to recover from cyanisis so quickly, thinking he must have Aquaman's lungs. Ippo, too tired to fight, throws a weak jab at Shimabukuro, stunning the crowd at how weak and pathetic the punch is, as an 80-year-old grandma would do better. Determined to end it, Shimabukuro sends multiple solid punches at Ippo, making the crowd fear it is all over and the champ is going down. Ippo is pushed to the ropes and boxed in again, but he continues to throw a very sissy left jab, which his fierce opponent pushes aside effortlessly. At that moment, Shimabukuro ducks down like a rat and launches a powerful gazelle uppercut to Ippo's chin. The strike leaves Ippo staggering like a weak chicken, shivering from the impact. He can't regain his footing and thinks it is over for him, but he still manages to send weak jabs. Unfazed, Shimabukuro reels him with powerful jabs, combining them with a mighty left hook and another gazelle uppercut, lifting Ippo from the canvas. But the champ defends with a double arm block and manages to shuffle and step back to regain his composure. Seeing the determination in Ippo to keep fighting even though he is outmatched, the crowd cheers him up, chanting his name and calling him the upgraded version of Muhammad Ali. With this momentum, Ippo lands weak jabs at his opponent as he remembers his old coach, but Shimabukuro shields himself with his arms. He gets enraged and prepares the final blow to render Ippo an invalid forever. At that instant, Ippo lands a weak hook to his face that rocks his core, leaving him dazed. Utilizing the opportunity, Ippo unleashes the Dempsey roll one last time, and with incredible lateral and leg movement, he trades powerful blows with Shimabukuro, smashing each other's faces. With a last-ditch effort and increased intensity, Ippo lands a mighty left hook, followed by a couple of jabs and hooks that completely knock Shimabukuro out, leaving Ippo standing tall above him. At that moment, Shimabukuro has a flashback of his island and the promise he made to his people to return home with the belt as the people's champion. Then he struggles to get up but is too weak and needs milk to stand as the referee counts down. The bell rings to end the match, and Ippo emerges the winner, retaining his title. The two fighters touch gloves in a spirit of sportsmanship, and Shimabukuro informs Ippo he will retire to live a quiet, boring life and become a great fisherman, and then thank him for being a worthy opponent. A few weeks later, Hiroko, Ippo's mother, gets a visit from a girl who came to see Ippo, which surprises her to see her boy getting clapped by baddies since Ippo is a loser who has never talked to any girl in his entire existence. The girl goes in to see Ippo, who is receiving treatment, and following this, another girl arrives, looking for Ippo. In Ippo's room, the first girl feels a slimy liquid exiting inside of her and decides to stick her tongue into Ippo's mouth while he's in a coma. However, the second girl interrupts, screaming at her for being a pervert and calling her a mental case, and both girls begin to fight over the unconscious hot stuff champ. As the magnum-craving bitches continue their useless fight and argument, they are soon interrupted by another mysterious lady who walks into the room and introduces herself as Tamura, a sports writer. But that didn't change anything because the three girls continue to fight over Ippo. At that moment, Hiroko steps into the room and calls them side characters, telling them to silence their 304 mouths and stop being gold diggers, advising them to allow the poor champ to rest. The next day, Ippo wakes up from his coma, and an ugly dude named Umezawa tells him he slept like Sleeping Beauty and didn't witness the hot baddies fighting over him. Later that day, Ippo trains and talks with his dog as he remembers one of his gym mates, Aoki, and his upcoming title match. He visits the gym to see how the guys prepare for Aoki's match, and as he arrives, he is approached by Takamura, an ugly dude with an enormous head, who tells him he should still be resting. He spots a skinny guy who looks like he has yet to eat anything since birth. The skinny guy welcomes him to the gym, and Ippo realizes the haunting face is Aoki's. He wonders why he looks like he will die today and demands to know what happened to him. The other guys tell him Aoki is going bonkers because of the title match. Later on, Ippo talks with his coach about his last match and how he is confident and believes the Dempsey roll has elevated his boxing skills enough to defeat Miyata, a powerful opponent vying for a spot for a title match. However, the coach tells him the Dempsey roll isn't all he needs to fight Miyata and that the last vote exposed the weakness of the Dempsey roll to those gunning for his title. But Ippo assures him that with the support of everyone at the gym, he is confident of victory. The next day, Ippo trains his arm and realizes he is completely healed. He then decides to help Aoki prepare for his upcoming match. When he gets to the gym, he is stunned to see an ugly, fat guy with a disgusting face. Realizing it's Aoki, he wonders how he got mixed up with a mental asylum patient and then asks him if he is going through a phase. Following that, at the restaurant where Aoki cooks as a chef, his customers cheer him on for his upcoming title match, and he promises to deliver a show for them. The customers talk about Ippo's match and how thrilling it was, mentioning that Aoki trains in the same gym as Ippo. This makes Aoki sad because he wants to become a champ like Ippo, who is already living the best life. He wishes he could catch up, but just as he thinks about how much he needs to win his upcoming title match, he is interrupted by Kimura, who drives him on a bike. Aoki assures Kimura he will win the fight and become champion. Meanwhile, Imae, the current lightweight champion against whom Aoki is fighting, promises his coach that he will win the fight against Aoki quickly and easily. His coach tells him winning will boost his stock, so he assures his coach that Aoki doesn't stand a chance and promises to humiliate the worthless piece of trash. He further states that Aoki's signature move, the frog punch, will be useless because he will squash him like a frog. Imae reveals that he has dedicated his life to boxing, even breaking up with his useless girlfriend, and too much is at stake just to let Aoki walk away with his prestigious belt. The next day, lightweight champion Imae walks into the conference room for the weigh-in, and to interact with journalists for the upcoming match, but as he enters the room, he sees Aoki flashing his exposed millimeter pewter. Aoki apologizes for the awkward scene, and Amae asks why he is acting like a nutcase and waving his wand about. Aoki complains of having difficulty measuring his weight with his boxers on, which infuriates Amae, who questions why he had to fight the clown. Afterward, the journalists ask them to shake hands in the spirit of sportsmanship, but Amae declines, refusing to shake hands with the dumbass and mocking his signature move, the frog punch. However, Aoki assures him that he has something special planned for the match. On the other hand, Itagaki stuffs food into his mouth like a pig as Kimura and Ippo approach him. Ippo, however, warns him that eating like a complete imbecile won't help his case since he has an upcoming match. As they discuss the fight between Aoki and Amae, noting how they are opposites, one a comedian and the other a buzzkill, Ippo stares off into the distance, lost in thought, until Kimura slaps his useless brain back to reality. They see Amae with a mysterious girl and decide to eavesdrop, and they witness Amae breaking up with her due to the tension from the title match. They feel bad for the girl, but when she turns in their direction, revealing her ugly crying gorilla face, they think it's for the best that Amae dumped her disgusting face, as there's no way in hell a lady should look that ugly. Later that night, Aoki can't stop thinking about the fight and all Amae said to him, but he is comforted by the massive cannons of his girlfriend, Tomiko. On the tournament day, Itagaki is up first for his Rookie King tournament match, and the team encourages him. Just then, Aoki walks in, and Takamura realizes he seems calm compared to his usual nervous nature, but he soon discovers the reason that the disgusting ugly simp is holding Tomiko, and they had even developed plot the night before. Even after several warnings that plot development reduces the stamina of a boxer, Takamura yells at him for being a useless simp. Meanwhile, as Itagaki battles his opponent and receives several punches, his disgusting father in the audience decides to release a disgusting fart worse than a nuclear weapon that nearly ends the worthless lives of the audience. In the meantime, Aoki gets nervous again and is comforted by Tomiko. Just then, Amaya walks in and wonders how he got matched with such a disgusting sissy. Following this, Aoki goes to the restroom to release a milky substance, but finds Imaya there and wonders what substance he is releasing since he hasn't been with any women. Imaya, however, assures him that he will beat him like a useless thief in the ring, and then drops a hot liquid on his feet. At the same time, in the ring, Itagaki shields himself from his opponent's punches, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When he sees an opening, he lands a solid hook, smashing his opponent's face and winning by knockout. His father also wins over the audience with his powerful knockout, releasing another disgusting garbage bomb. After Itagaki's match, the team heads to the dressing room and finds Tomiko swallowing Aoki's meat. Wishing they were in his position, they beat up Aoki for getting too much enjoyment. Just then, Aoki is informed that his match is about to commence, so the announcer calls him to the ring as the crowd cheers and chants his name. Then, the lightweight champ, Amae, gets called into the ring, and both men lock their eyes, ready to settle it all. The useless crowd keeps shouting for the frog punch, and Aoki screams at them to shut up before it's too late, darn it, but this aggravates Amae even more, and he resolves to end Aoki. At that moment, the bell rings, and both men move to the center of the ring, assuming their fighting stances. Aoki sidesteps, glancing at Amae with disdain, and then rushes at him, but stops and backs off when he realizes Amae is unfazed and stands his ground. The crowd yells for the frog punch, and Ippo tells them to silence their filthy mouths. Both men stare at each other, neither willing to make the first strike, but Amae glances at Aoki with the intent to end him. Will Aoki face his fears and defeat Amae, the current title holder? Let us know if you want a part 2 by commenting boxing in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you guys in the next video.